how do I get out of it? I had postpartum hair loss. It was so bad. It's like whenever I lace my fingers through my hair, right, I see a lot of strands of hair, and I felt very ugly about myself. Having just given birth, right, obviously your figure is not there. You know, then you're losing hair on top of all these. I started speaking to chemists on like, you know, how to formulate a range of hair care products. Every decision that you make through your everyday life will greatly determine your path, your next path, you know, and your life. So take every decision-making opportunity seriously. What your mind tells you can really change how you react to things, how you feel about things, and how you handle things. It's really all in your mind. I would always find a silver lining in things because things can't be that bad one.
Welcome to another episode of First Pot of Gold. I'm Germaine, and on this podcast, we get to hear about how people share their ups and downs and their journey to building their first pot of gold. On today's episode, we have one of Singapore's beauty content creator. She's also an entrepreneur, and to me, she's a loving mother of two who loves her children so much and travels with them all across the world. Let's put our hands together and welcome Melody Yang!
Hello! Hi everyone, thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, babe, for coming on the show.
I'm so nervous, but I know it's gonna be fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
and if you guys don't know, right, actually Melody is super introverted in a private area.
Super.
In a like, you know, private setting, she's super introverted. And for her to say yes, I am
For
so
you, for
honored.
you.
Thank you, babe. You know, I wore these pants just for you.
So much love, right?
Yes, because that's what I want people to see
Thank
and
you.
understand as well. Okay, so Melody, today I can ask you like a lot of questions so that
Yes.
our viewers get to learn from your challenges, your journey, and everything in between.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So the first question I'd like to ask you is, when you think about this word, first pot of gold, what pops up into your mind?
Okay, I think it's been quite a journey for me. So I started out just, you know, like any other salary employees. I was just doing advertising, and then of course when I met my husband, then boyfriend.
For starters, her
Yes.
husband is Lady Iron Chef.
That's right.
It's a guy.
Yes, it's a guy. Contrary to popular belief, he is a male. Okay, so when I started dating him, I thought it was a natural progression that I went from my fashion and beauty sales. Just a little bit of background info. I was doing fashion and beauty ad sales in a very traditional company. So when I met my husband, I actually progressed to doing the ad sales for Lady Iron Chef. So we were running Lady Iron Chef together for a few years, and I think nobody knew, but I was behind the scenes doing the business development and all. So I was really just like the supporting arm of Lady Iron Chef. And then after that, slowly, I started exploring Instagram, and I thought, okay, that would be a fun place to share more about myself. You know, my love for fashion, for beauty, for travel, and whatnot.
And now content with your children.
Yes, of course. So like it has kind of shifted from just all about myself to now with my kids. So I think it's a little bit of everything. But I think what really changed my life was when I started selling products. So I thought, you know, maybe I could expand and go beyond just doing advertising. And I thought I would start selling beauty products that I use, I believe in, because I've always had this penchant for selling. I think it's just in me. I'm just a salesperson through and through. And that had always been my journey ever since graduation. So it was a natural progression as well for me to do like from ad sales to doing like B2C sales. And yeah, that was how I started.
So when I mentioned first pot of gold, I
Yes.
would say that it's your skill set in advertising and sales.
Not so much, because for that, right, I always told my husband back then that I felt like I was really just doing a supporting role of supporting his business, you know. And then he said, why don't you go and do something that you like? And I said, like what? And then he said, you know, search within yourself. What is your passion? What do you really feel strongly for? And I said, I like beauty products a lot. So he said, then you have to answer. So I started sourcing for products. I thought, you know, I would stick to my core of being a salesperson. So I sourced for beauty products. We started selling products from China, from Taiwan. And back then, right, it was something so, how should I say, so foreign. Because for someone who was doing Instagram to selling beauty products, it was actually quite a shift. But the thing is, Singaporeans actually didn't know that micro business, we call it Weishang, has already been, Weishang. It has already been a thing in China for a few years already.
Yeah, and everybody now is selling something online.
So everyone back then, right, it was quite unheard of in Singapore. But I adopted this pattern because I felt there was a lot of potential in there. So I started bringing in products from China, from Taiwan, and we started selling from home. No office, no whatsoever. We were just selling from home. No website even, So I simply posted on my Instagram. I posted photo, product description and everything, and then people would DM me to purchase or WhatsApp me to purchase.
So very manual process.
Very manual. My friend calls it a very scrapey style. It's really very chapalam. It's like as scrapey as possible. But my aim was just to get started. So I did this for like maybe 2 years or so, and I think my breakthrough and my first pot of gold would be COVID. So during the lockdown.
So when I ask you this sentence about first pot of gold, the period that it came up is actually COVID-19.
I was actually selling for like 2 years or so already. Then I got pregnant, I think slowed down a little, and then I gave birth. So my first delivery was in March 2020. So that was at the peak of COVID. And then even so, right, I was so driven because everyone was like going into a frenzy. Everyone was like, preparing to go into lockdown. Okay, not really preparing. No one could really prepare for lockdown, right? Yeah. But everyone was just like staying home a lot more.
And a bit more scared.
Correct. So people were paranoid. No one wanted to go out for fear of contracting COVID.
Yes.
So that was when my sales picked up because people couldn't go out, they would shop online, you see. So, but by then we already had website already lah. So my phone was like beeping non-stop during that period because I think because people couldn't go out.
Yeah.
So they were just like bored at home, got money, cannot spend, right? So everyone was just shopping online. And I think during COVID, especially lockdown, was my first pot of gold because my business actually tripled during that month.
Wow.
Instantly without anything else, and I was doing my confinement, I was still doing my confinement, but I was just like working every day because cannot say no to money ma.
Yay! I'm so happy for you. So okay, that was during your COVID time.
Yes.
Now let's look at the whole timeline of your journey as a content creator.
Yes.
If we rewind back time, right, all the way to how did you even begin this content creation journey? You mentioned it was because you had your husband who encouraged you to look within, that you talk about fashion and beauty. But how did you begin? Like, did you just post something?
Okay, so this I think people wouldn't believe it, but I was very reluctant to do so. My Instagram was private when I started dating Brett back then, my husband.
Private?
I mean, I'm a very private person. I don't like people to know so much about me.
I can attest to it. On a private setting, she's actually very, very private. So I'm once again super thankful, right? She said yes to this. Because at first she rejected me on.
Yeah, because I'm just someone, I feel very intruded when people know about me. But you see, the thing is, what I choose to post on Instagram is what I'm comfortable to let people know. There are actually a lot of stories that I hold, a lot of things that I face people don't know about. And that's just me. I'm just generally introvert plus private. So when my husband first told me like, hey, a lot of people were asking me who this Melody is. Correct. Because out of nowhere, Lady and Chef is like dating someone. I'm like his first official girlfriend that he announced. Back then when he had girlfriends, he didn't post about them online at all. So nobody knew that he's a guy. People were like, Lady Chef confirm girl, right?
Yeah, I mean Lady Iron Chef. Not a clever guy. Anyway, you married.
It is an icebreaker. The name, I swear, it's always something that people will talk about.
Yes.
So when he first started tagging me as Melody, my account was private, and a lot of people were very curious, like, who is this Melody person? And he said, why don't you open your Instagram? And back then I didn't think so much. I said, oh, okay, open up, lor. And I was so overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, like so many people started following me. People started like commenting on my pictures, asking questions, and I couldn't deal with like the influx of attention and spotlight on me basically. And I was just like frightened.
Overwhelmed
And frightened. And then Brett simply told me, just get used to this. And I'm like, okay, how do I even get used to this? And when I started attending like events with him, everyone would be looking at me. And back then I was not how I am today, I'm just like a lot more understated, a lot quieter, and I just didn't have confidence in myself at all. That was me back then.
You are very humble. And I tell you, she really looked very good. But I feel like, you really like just not very comfortable in front of being so many people.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable being the spotlight.
Yes.
That's just me.
Yeah.
So it took me a while. But then because I think primarily I'm a very monetarily driven person.
Okay.
I would like to think that is my trait,
It is
that's a strong
strength.
trait.
And to say it's a very, very, very good thing.
I own it. I'm a monetarily driven person. So when opportunities came knocking on the door, even though I wasn't a full-fledged Instagrammer, I didn't have like tens of thousands of followers. I already had like a substantial amount. I think like back then 5,000 5,000 already a lot already.
Yes,
lah.
yes, yes,
Correct.
yes,
so like
yeah.
10多年前, right? 5,000 already a lot. Then opportunities came knocking. People wanted to sponsor me clothes, sponsor me like, beauty products. So my husband, then boyfriend, was like, you see, like maybe this is the start of something. So he kept encouraging me, and I think that was how I really
so
got started.
lucky.
Thank you, I am.
Yeah.
If not for him, I think I would just be hiding in my shell. Yeah.
But for you, right, I mean, besides you having that luck to have somebody encouraging you,
Yeah.
actually something that you did was, to embrace the uncomfortableness. What made you, like, I'm sure you have a lot of, doubts and challenges. What made you to just say, never mind, I'll just go and do it? Because to some of our audience here, it may not be easy for them to step out the shell. What would you say to them to encourage them?
I think it's down to personality though, because you see, I'm not someone who likes to make grand plans for my life. I've never been that kind of person. I've always been a go with the flow, just swing it kind of person. I've always been like that all through my life. And I'm the kind of like exam tomorrow, today that I study one.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't look in my calendar and say, oh shit, next month got exam, I better start. I'm not that kind. I've always been very fluid. So I think it's also my character, and I'm a water sign, so it's always like that for me.
Flowing.
I'll just go with the flow. So I never had grand plans, and I'm just like, okay, lor, if at that point in time this makes sense to me, I will do it, lor. So it's very, how should I say? It's very situational, and it's very based on how I feel at that point in time.
So how did you feel at that time when Brett asked you, hey, you should go and try this out?
So a lot of self-doubts, you're right. I'm someone who self-doubt a lot. I mean, that stems from my unconfident personality. So when I was at that position when Brett asked me, it's up to you whether you want to start taking up all these sponsorships, put yourself out there, or you just go back to your shell. You just log your account from now. Then, you go back to supporting me at Later I Share. So I was like, okay, let's just try something. I mean, I've been in the corporate industry for a while already before I started venturing into Instagram with Brett. So I felt like I was so sick of the corporate industry anyway. I had some unhappy years in the industry because it's a very, how should I say, it's a very dog-eat-dog world in the advertising industry, especially when you're doing like high fashion and beauty. So I felt like I had enough of that, and I thought, okay, maybe this is my chance to change my destiny. And I thought, okay, let's do it. So I decided that, in spite of all the insecurities and all the discomfort, I would just do it and I would just try. So I started, putting myself out there even more, accepting all these jobs, ad hoc jobs. And then when the money started adding up, that was when I felt a bit surer of my path. Because driven by money, mom. So naturally, when I see the money coming into my bank every month, I was like, okay, this is it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you did was actually, number one, I think that, you know yourself very well and you know what are your challenges. So you actually said it out loud. I have fear, I have doubt, I have, a lot of uncertainty, and that's okay. And then after that, being in the right environment with the right person, thankfully, your husband, Brett, encouraged you and tell you, say, hey, why not you step out? And then something that you did was actually to channel your slight unhappiness at your current state, right?
Yes.
Which was the corporate world.
Correct.
And to refuel it, to say, you know what, let me try something new. And then you look for feedback.
Yeah.
The feedback was the money, which is what you like lah.
Yes.
And which is a really good
That's
thing.
the driving force for me.
Yeah, but to know that that is your driving force is actually a strength in itself. So that's what the 4 things that somebody can do to actually be able to step out of the shell and then go with the flow to follow that even more. If the feedback gives you more money, go and do it more.
Yeah, I think in general, right, while I am someone with a lot of self-doubts, I do have clarity on certain aspects of my life. And I, like you said, knowing yourself and understanding yourself is very important. The thing is, like, I think most people would have pride in a way. They would say, I don't want to do this lah, because, insert some excuse.
Okay.
So the thing is, like, a lot of people have excuses for themselves. They are very lenient with themselves. And I think that is a downfall, because when you're too much in your comfort zone, you will never push yourself out. And that is when you will never discover new paths. So it's very important to be able to, like you said, be afraid, but still have the courage to just do something that is new, something that you are not familiar with, and just allow yourself to be a beginner. Don't let pride get in the way.
Allow yourself to be a beginner.
You have to be a beginner every single day, because there is always a first time for everyone. There are always mistakes to be made, because when you make a mistake, that is when you learn and you grow. I mean, some people don't learn from mistakes, sadly. But the thing is, if the opportunity is presented there, right, you do need to be able to know that is your opportunity and to know when to grasp it. So from there, right, every decision that you make through your everyday life will greatly determine your path, your next path, and your life.
absolutely.
So take every decision-making opportunity seriously. Really consider aspect. I think that is also one part of me being an overthinker. Good and bad. It's a double-edged sword to be an overthinker. But the good part is that because I'm an overthinker, I tend to understand the situation better, or at least I have a mind map in my head. Like if I do this, this is what might happen. If I don't do this, is what might not happen. You know what I mean? Having clarity is very important. Having clarity and not letting pride get in your way. I think that is very important.
So something that you do actually as an overthinker. So for some of you guys out there who are overthinkers,
Yeah, like me, it's
like
okay to be an
her,
overthinker.
totally fine, because
Yes.
you can weigh out the outcomes of
Correct.
option A, option
Yes.
B, but then make sure that you take an action.
Correct.
At the end of the day.
Most importantly, right, I would say you have to make a decision. Don't just sit there, don't just be so comfortable in your own spot. Like there is this phrase that I really resonate with. It's like,
Tell
even
us.
if you're on the right track, you make it knock over something if you don't move.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Which
So-
is why if people don't innovate,
Yeah, you have to constantly evolve. You have to force yourself to evolve. Even if you're doing well today, don't rest on your laurels and think that I'm good. I'm settled. I'm life figured. I'm done. You have to keep seeking improvement.
that's something
So
I love about you.
Thank
Because
you.
for her, right, she would actually keep on learning, trying new things, and listen to the market feedback, and then keep on redoing.
Correct.
Now, Melody, you seem like, honestly, when I look at your IG, when I first know you, right, I think that this person have it all.
No lah, I don't lah.
I know. Now that I know you, I know
Yeah.
you lah, right? Like you are such a sweet person.
Thank you.
And in like a private setting, you are super warm. Really. And then right, what I realized is that actually, on social media, you may look like this extremely confident person, extremely like, go-getter, girl boss, hard,
Do I
hard
really?
person. Yes. And if like, let's say, somebody actually, crosses the line, you are very firm to, tell the person, hey, no, this is crossing the line.
Yeah.
So that's why I see you as. But today, right, I get to see another side of Melody where actually inside is you are a fuzzy bear.
My friends call me marshmallow. That might sound better.
Yeah, marshmallow. So tell us a little bit about, for some people who are struggling with confidence, some people who struggle with like, I'm not good enough, I'm not confident enough. What would you say to advise them and to help them, like how you did for your own journey?
Okay, I think just to address first, I think because on my Instagram, I tend to be a bit more, how should I put it, aloof. These are just adjectives that I think off my head, of what people tell me. When they meet me for the first time, they say, hey, actually you're very different. On Instagram, you're very aloof, like, you're very hao lian.
No
that
lah,
kind.
babe.
Have
You
like-
are not hao lian.
No, because I talked to you for a while already, so you know me, you
I
see.
totally tell you guys, she's not at all. She is like one of the most real, heartwarming person that I know. And
That's
I
the
know
funny
that you will never backstab me. Because right, if anything, she'll just shoot me in my face first.
Correct.
And then say, hey, I don't like it when you like that.
Correct.
Then I appreciate it. Won't you all like friends who are like that?
No, this is the thing. Herein lies the problem.
Okay,
When
why?
I am too direct, people say I'm very fierce and bitchy and unapproachable and whatnot.
Okay.
I get that a lot. But I think that not everyone can deal with unpopular opinions. And I think that unfortunately, I'm not saying that I always say the right things, but sometimes people don't want to hear the truth. And it's very sad because over the years, right, I have always been outspoken about my thoughts, about my beliefs and my approaches in life and whatnot.
But that's
And
you, what?
it's me, exactly. Like I come from this point where I hope to inspire people to be a bit more assured of themselves, even though I'm an insecure person.
No,
Like, I want-
which is why you do this.
Correct, because I want people to know that it's okay to be insecure. It's okay to not have confidence. But ultimately, right, you must be very, how should I put it? You must be very certain of your, of whatever that you say and do. Don't say something and then do some. Don't say something to people and then do something otherwise. Be just always be real, always be honest, and always treat people with sincerity, I would say. Be genuine with everything that you say and do. So the thing about this, right, is that while I believe so, it has come across to some people as me being abrasive, being rude and being like bitchy. But the thing is, like what you said, if it's a yes to me. If it's a black to me. It will never be white. So I've always been like that. There is no in-betweens. I don't like ambiguity.
You know why not? She's a Gemini.
I'm a Cancer.
Oh, shy.
I'm a Cancer,
You're
but the thing is
Cancer.
one day shy of Gemini ma. So I do have Gemini trait.
Yeah, which is
Yes.
extremist lah.
Correct law.
Yeah,
correct
you take
law.
extreme ends lah.
Correct.
You go
Correct.
all in or all out, you're friend or foe.
Correct. Don't have in between one. So
Correct.
let's say today I don't like you. If I see you at an event, right, I'll just look at you, I won't walk away. I won't even smile. I'm that kind, which is why people say I'm Hao Lian law. But that's just me, ma. You don't need to play games with me. You know, yes is yes, no means no.
Yeah,
so
and which is
no
why,
second guessing me.
Which is why
Yeah.
I think your followers like you for you.
I hope so.
Totally, because
I
I
hope
sometimes
so.
follow your IG, right? And I
Yeah.
think that like sometimes your followers would say that, wow, thank you for standing up, for saying this, because I was afraid to say. Yeah, and you know, going back to feeling so insecure and you know, feeling like not confident, how did you get out of it and how do you now try to be a little bit more confident?
How do I get out of it? I think being in this industry has forced me to do so because quite unlike a typical job where, you know, like after work hours, you just shut your laptop, you go home, that's it, you know, you don't have to face the world. But being someone so open, I won't say I'm a public figure, I'm not a public figure, I'm not a celebrity, I'm just someone with a bit more followers on
Guys, you
Instagram.
see, that's why I say she's very humble one, really. That's
really
why
just
you
me.
must get to know her. Okay,
But
yes.
that's really just me, ma. Like, I'm really not like celebrity or whatsoever. And I always tell myself that I do still have the responsibility to say the things that I should say and to behave in a certain way that I do not lead the young people astray. So the thing is, it's a very fine line to draw because while I have to conduct myself in a certain way because of the position that I hold on Instagram or, you know, whatever social media platforms, sometimes I feel a bit restrained because like, this is how I feel, but if I say this, I might get cancelled. Or like, you know, people might form certain impressions on me. So I think it's really a lot about internalizing your thoughts, you know, like knowing where the boundaries are. So ultimately, we do have to respect, you know, societal boundaries and what's that word? Superstitions or certain things you cannot say or taboos per se. Yeah. So always have basic respect to people. I feel to people that you meet, to people that you talk to, you know, and of course to the society. But of course, stay true to your thoughts. You know. So of course, if you think a certain way, maybe you can actually phrase it, and that's what I do. So like I will phrase it internally first and see how I want to package my opinion in such a way that I reach out to people with the intended essence without really offending people. But the thing about this is, the thing about being honest and truthful and speaking what people don't dare to say, right, is that inevitably you would offend people. And I want to tell myself it's okay because
you don't need everyone.
I don't need everyone. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I'll just say what I say. Everyone can go this direction, but if my thoughts is with this direction, I would go this direction. But perhaps I would package it in such a way that it is slightly less offensive. I try, but it is what I think, lor. I won't just go there just because everyone is there.
Yes. So something about you is you stay true to your authentic self. However, something that you've learned along the journey is maybe the way I say it can be different.
Correct. Maybe a bit more tech.
Maybe a bit more gentler. So
Correct,
I say
correct.
the truth with compassion.
Correct. So the thing is, I started out not knowing this, and
Okay.
obviously, I have offended a lot of people, be it followers whom I've never met, I'm sorry, or people whom I met at events, or people that I've worked with, you know. Inevitably, right, my straightforward nature would offend people, you know. People would be upset with the things that I say. So along the way, I've also learned that it is really okay. Once again, it's really okay to speak what you feel, but perhaps, like what you said, in a gentler approach. Nowadays, people are very sensitive. Must a bit cannot one. So you really must package your words. I'm sorry, but nowadays people really cannot take the hard truth one. So
I think that there's a difference between millennials and Gen Z a little bit lah.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's a more self-care environment.
Yeah. I mean, you can.
So it's a good thing.
You can still practice self-care, but accept different opinions, law. But the thing is, sometimes people are just, how should I put it? They perceive things in a certain way. So I think, right, really for my character, when I'm so honest and I want to be honest as much as I can still meander this by just packaging my words in a gentler approach, in a softer approach. And this is what I'm learning every day.
Over the years.
Correct. So this is what I'm learning over the years. You know, like I'm still trying to be better,
Yay.
but inevitably I am still me. So on Instagram, I'm still that very outspoken and very straightforward person who do not exactly means my words. Like whatever I say, I would feel, and whatever I feel, I would say, and I'll put it out there as is, as much as possible. Certain things, if I think really very cancelable, I just don't say.
Very good. Okay, so talking about like, you know, posting and, you know, on content creation and on social media, right? Is it true that you travel with your kids like everywhere.
Yeah,
And
I do.
almost every month.
Yeah, I do.
Which parent does that?
Me? I don't know why people don't believe it.
No,
but
I believe it because I truly always like in awe of her because I have 2 kids as well. But okay, tell us a little bit about that. Number 1, how old are your kids? I know you have 2 beautiful kids. And how often do you travel?
Okay, so I've got 2 kids. I would say 3 because I've got a fur baby as well. But okay, so my first child would be my dog, Pudding. She will always be my first child. She's 8. And then my second would be Eva, my daughter, who is 5. And third, my son, Elroy, who is 2.5 years old. So, of course, we can't bring our dog to travels as much as we would love to. But with my family of 4, we try to travel every month.
Every month?
Yeah, really, legit, every month. Like, if that month I'm not in, I'm in Singapore, right? It means confirm I got a lot of work to do lah, or like we just didn't manage to get tickets, or like usually June, July will be in Singapore because it's summer everywhere, and I don't like to travel during summer period.
July.
It's just too uncomfortable.
Wait, so you travel at least 10 times a year?
I think safely, yeah.
10 times a year with your children. I've seen you go to Japan, Korea, UK, Paris. I'm following, babe, okay? So, tell me, what is your thinking behind this? Why do you want to travel with your kids everywhere?
Okay, first and foremost, right, with the Singapore's education system, it's so strict in that if you miss out on classes, your child may lack a lot. So with this in mind, right, I know that when my daughter goes to primary school, we cannot do this so often already. And that is why before she turns 7, we just have to seize the opportunity and travel every month. Yeah, so that's my number one. That's my number one train of thought lah. Like because once she reaches 7 years old, we cannot do this already, ma. So the time is now. The time is really now. And of course, like back to the point of me being a live in the moment, go with the flow person, right? I am just someone who is, I'm quite spontaneous and I like instant gratification. So let's say I say, oh shit, I really crave this from London and I want to go shopping. Okay, then we'll book a trip and we go. Okay, but that's the thing, okay? Pre-kids, right? That was me and my husband. We would just book a trip like 3 days prior and we'll just fly. Because back then, not much commitment, you know what I mean? You don't have to plan for so many things. So back then, our travels were a lot more spontaneous. Now with kids, right, a bit harder to plan. Sometimes you need to get 4 tickets. Then you kind of need to like strategize a bit, okay, whether we use our miles redemption for this big trip or we pay cash. And then of course, like when it comes to paying cash, you got to select the season as well. And of course, you know, the usuals, like the nearer to the trip, the more expensive the tickets would be. So we do kind of need to have a trips in the pipeline per se. We need to have a map up of like, okay, this month we go where, that month we go where, like that. But yeah, we try to do like 1 trip every month, and it usually centers around our interest and convenience. So let's say we think that this period we can go for a long trip, and then we'll think of destinations that are further away, like Europe. I love Europe.
Yes, I can tell.
Yes.
And you also love your shopping a lot as well.
I do.
Yes.
I do. That's also one of my driving forces, and that's why I work so hard.
Which is great because you earn your own money and then you spend your own money.
Correct. I think that's the best feeling in the world. Like people always say like, "Aya, she just take photo on Instagram only, ma. Just look pretty, you know, like everyday travel, the life very easy. Every day go Chanel, every day go
No.
M&S,
You're one of the hardest working people I know.
Guys, I work until 2 a.m. You don't see it. Okay?
Yes. So tell us a little bit about this. So, you know, being a mom and wanting to be there for your kids and also juggling between entrepreneurship, running your own business. Have you ever felt like the balance was off on some days?
Yeah.
And how do you cope with it?
All the time. It's like very overwhelming. Your brain has like 1,000 tabs open at one time. And the thing is like wearing 2 hats, it's actually 3 hats in fact, like being a wife, being a mom, being a brand owner. It's all together. Sometimes it gets too much, and like you know, I'm a major introvert. So you know, according to MBTI, I'm a 90% introvert. I'm a 90%. I'm that high, okay. So I perpetually need time to myself. I need to decompress. But the thing is, running so many things at one go, you simply don't have the luxury. So on my day-to-day, right, it's very overwhelming. When I wake up in the morning, I would just prep my kids for school. I do have a helper, so she would help to give them their breakfast, she would help to change them, and then I would do the emotional part, you know, like hugging my kids, talking to them, telling them, okay, you go to school, you do this, you do that. When we come home, you know, mommy will play with you, or after school, mommy will pick you up, we go here, we go there. So I do the emotional part in the morning, which is slightly easier, and then once they go off to school, it's either my husband or me who would send them. We take turns, and then it's just work work all the way until evening when they are back. So when they are back from like 5 to 9, I would always call that the witching hour for parents.
Reaching hour.
Witching hour.
Witching.
Yeah.
Being
you know
a
why?
witch.
Because you are a mom for very long already. You forgot the newborn days.
Okay, tell me.
During newborn days, right? Like baby in their newborn day, they have this witching hour. It's usually like between 6 to 9 p.m. When they are just like tired but don't want to sleep, but when they are awake, they are grumpy, and then like everything cannot feed milk also cry, don't feed milk also cry. We call it the witching hour for newborns. And it's the same for parents, but it's just basically the toughest hour, the toughest block of hours of the day. So 5 to 9 on weekdays are just insane. I'll pick the kids, they will bombard me non-stop. And the thing is, it's them seeing me after a whole day, Especially my elder girl, she would have a lot of things to tell me, like what happened in school, what she ate. And I have to be on full concentration mode, even after working for an entire day already. So like my brain is already in an overdrive, but I still have to be there to listen to their stories, to accompany them for dinner. Sometimes like we'll bring them out to playgrounds to exhaust their energy, that last bit of energy before they knock out for the night. So that's pretty much how my day runs. And now that I've dabbled with live streaming, so I do live streaming on the site as well, on TikTok. So on some nights I actually stream from 9 to 12 a.m. depending on the brand. So after I put them to sleep, I continue working until 12.
In your house?
Depends. So some streams happen at home, some would happen in the client studio / office. So can you imagine like really waking up at like 8 o'clock, settling down for the first hour, 9 o'clock they go to school, I will start working, do everything, layers with my factory fulfillment of the orders and whatnot. All the way until 5 p.m. I pick them. It's chatting and a lot of overstimulation. Until 9 p.m. I make them sleep, I continue working. So I would work until like 12 a.m. Some days if let's say the stream is
Last night was 2 lah.
So the thing is, usually I try to end my stream by 12 so that I have a bit of 1-2 hours to do admin work. So the 1-2 hours is admin work, right? For my admin work, is replying like Instagram comments lah, replying my emails lah, like that lor. So I actually work very long hours, and that's pretty much my life. So on some days, right, there are just days when I don't feel for anything. So after sending my kids to school, I would just drop everything in my word, like just F everything, and I would just go shopping.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
So the crazy part is what people don't get to see is your hustle. People see your travels.
Yes.
People see
all the pretty photos on Instagram.
Not just that, you shopping.
Yeah,
because you reward yourself after a long day of work.
Correct.
Or a continuous season of working hard.
Yes.
But they don't get to see the hustle behind this. And actually, you work really hard.
I work super long hours. The irony is until today, people still think that, I don't take care of my kids. I don't work. My husband is the one working and I'm just shopping. But okay lah, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when I go home, my kids hug me and then they tell me that they love me. Or when I buy toys for them and they say, thank you, mommy, I love it so much. I think that's what matters. The thing about being out there on Instagram and like dealing with so much noise, right, is that over time, I've learned to shut off. Like in the beginning, I don't deny that they do get to me. Like all the comments, all the insinuations, all the allegations and all the untruths that people say. Like they don't even know me, but they form all these impressions and they just go around and spread until like true, that's the thing. One person say, people will, people don't listen. 10 people say, people will stop and think, hey, is it true? 100 people say, okay, Melody is like that already. So like over time, I'm just like, whatever lah, you all just say whatever you all like.
So what you have, and to actually help yourself to, not be impacted by all these negative noise, I would say, on social media, especially being so exposed all the time, is number one, right, you have a village. For me, what you keep on saying is, your children that hugs you, kisses you, and then also your husband.
Yeah, who continuously supports me and like just listens to all my rants. I think that's enough for me. Yeah.
Okay, something that you want to say to your husband?
Very broke ma, like cannot lah.
I cannot do this lah.
I cannot do PDA.
Look at her. Introvert, okay?
No, but I'm really very thankful because if not for my husband being my rock, right, I don't think I could have come so far because a lot of times when I sink into that vicious cycle of self-doubting, of telling myself I don't want to do this anymore, I quit, I'm done, he will just be there like, hey, get up, you need to do this because if you don't do this, who will? Like you are this person you are on Instagram today. So many people are inspired by you and you are our children's mother. So if you don't go on, there, like he will always tell me, you need to do this because if you don't go on, many worlds cannot spin. So like a lot of people, my children, like they depend on me, and of course, with my business, it will affect a lot of people if I just stop. There are times when like what I said just now, I just F it and I don't want to work. You know, I just don't want to work. I just don't want to reply emails. I don't want to take calls. I don't want to talk to my factory. Whatever. I'm just like on strike per se. Well, then my factory, they all were very kanchong. They will message me, Ye 小姐, 这个要出货了没有? 这个可以生产了吗? So it's really a lot of pressure because a lot of people are depending on me and waiting for me to get back on track. So if not for my husband continuously like encouraging me, I don't think I can do that. And the thing is, he really takes the fault from me, you know, because I'm someone who needs to decompress a lot. And I don't have a lot of avenues, ma'am. The thing about me is, if I'm in Singapore, I feel very stifled. It's just me. It's just me. Naturally, once I go onto the plane, I'm okay already.
You need to decompress.
Correct.
Like, for real.
But the thing is, if I'm in Singapore, he would always tell me, you know what, take some time off, take today off. I'll pick the kids from school. You go shopping, you go meet your friends, you know, you go karaoke, whatever. Go and do whatever that you would like, you know. I would just be home to take care of things. So that's a good part. As in, like, that is my safety net. Like, I know if all else fails and if I crumble, I can still rely on my husband to hold the fort while I get back on track.
You're super lucky, and so to filter out the noise, number one is that you know that you've already given your best. Number two, have a village that supports you, and also number three is know how to take care of yourself. So for you, you know how to take care of yourself. You know what makes you decompress. Like for example, traveling. Then also you actually go shopping, hanging out with your girlfriends, and what makes you you. And don't need to be apologetic about it.
And the thing is, sometimes, right, you really have to sit down and look at all the small things, because a lot of time, right, those are just our daily grind, you know, like we go through the motion. We fail to notice the beauty in the ordinary life. Sometimes it's as simple as just me walking my dog and I feel recharged already. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all the little things. It's always like the smallest things that takes up the biggest room in your heart. So sometimes look within yourself and, you know, look at your everyday life. I know it's very easy to wish the moment away. A lot of times we just say like, you know, can we just be done with this? You know, can we just not do this? We just sit there complaining, whining, wishing the time away. But when you look back, right, those are actually what matters, you know. So, for example, sometimes my children are like squabbling and like they're fighting over a toy. Then you get very pig-tick because in the moment, like, so many toys there, why you all must fight for that one toy?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we give you so many toys.
And the thing is, it doesn't help that my dog would join in the fun. She sometimes will go for the toy also, especially if it's a soft toy. Because my dog is like a baby, she's damn cute. So if it's like a soft toy, right, she also wants it. Yeah. So
how do you diffuse it?
Yeah, and the thing is, I would be afraid that my dog would bite my kids, right? Because dogs can be territorial. Then the thing is, sometimes when three of them fighting, one barking, two crying, wow, I get very pissed. I'll tell my husband, you know, I'm out. Then I'll take my dog and I'll take my dog because diffuse by taking the danger out first, because my dog wouldn't understand. So I'm very afraid that she would bite my children because she would be playing is one, and she might think that is her territorial. That's her territory, you see, and that is her possession, especially if it's a toy. So I will take my dog away. I'll just go to the room and tell my husband to settle that too. So sometimes when this kind of thing happens, right, it's so frustrating, and it's very overwhelming. But when you look back, right, it's actually very cute. It's like now when I sit down here talk to you and tell you about this, I find that very cute, you know, like three of them fighting. So you see, it's really in the everyday things that sometimes we fail to see the joy in it. So
wow, actually, Melody, you're somebody that actually, even in a difficult moment, right, you're trying to look for the good and have gratitude for it.
Correct. I would always find a silver lining in things, because things can't be that bad one lah. You know what I mean?
Things won't be bad all the time, or things can't be good all the time.
Yes.
So you need to be self-happy.
And I feel that it's all in your mind. It's all in your mind. So I'm someone whom over time have built up quite a, I would say fortitude for my mental strength. You know what I mean? It's like,
I think you came a long way.
Yeah, I think so. And what your mind tells you can really change how you react to things, how you feel about things, and how you handle things. It's really all in your mind. Like, it's a very common saying, but I think people don't really understand the depth of this.
Okay, you explain it to us.
It's like what I just said, you know, a certain frustrating situation, it can be so overwhelming, it can be so overstimulating. But if you just tell yourself, actually it's really very cute, 2 years later, right, maybe they won't be fighting anymore. Then you will miss that. You will miss this time where they are so little, so small. Like, I think also this is part of me being an overthinker. I would say, but what if, like, you know, 5 years later, they all have their own friends, they will not be playing and fighting over toys. Then I would just feel like, okay, I should just live in the moment and just enjoy it. So it's really on your mind. Like, you really have to find a silver lining in things. It's very hard. It's easy to say now, but when you find a silver lining in things, of course, it doesn't really, it doesn't immediately change the situation, but it makes you feel better about being the one having to handle the situation. And when you feel better, naturally you would have more composure and you would have more control over how you handle things. And I feel that that would be a good damage control per se.
So something I learned from you is that, what you put into your mind is super important because it affects your thoughts, your beliefs, and then how you react in that moment. And then the whole situation can change.
Yeah. And I feel like also, like what I said, nothing can be that bad one, like we are living in a first world country. We are not like scavenging for food.
We're
not
very
like
thankful.
We're not like worrying when it would rain because we don't have a roof over our heads. All these are the real problems. Our problems are very minute in comparison. So I always tell myself that your problems are actually not as big as you think.
Okay, so tell myself
your problems
are not as big as I think.
Yes,
okay,
they are not
good.
as severe as you think.
Okay, so talking about problems and challenges, what do you think is the biggest challenge that you've faced in your whole life?
Work or what?
Anything, up to you, whatever you think of. And then how you had to overcome it.
What's the biggest challenge?
Or one of the bigger challenges that you had to face.
Well, this is really quite a tough one. I mean, like, there are a lot of things that I faced along the way, but to single one out, I would say to really transition from a couple to a family while running a business. Because like what I said, right, when I gave birth to my daughter, I was supposed to be resting. I was supposed to be doing my confinement. And of course, being a first-time mom meant having a lot of struggles, new challenges, not knowing what to do. Every other hour, you would find yourself in a situation that you've never been in before.
Absolutely.
And you would be thinking, shit, what do I do now?
Are you Googling like all the time?
Yeah, like Google was my best friend. I see Google more than I see my husband. And then on top of that, right, work was piling up because money just kept coming in and I wouldn't say no to money. So I was juggling being a first-time mom, handling a newborn, and my confinement nanny was shit for the record. Like, she was horrible.
Okay.
I tried changing, but because it was at the peak of COVID, Malaysia already locked down already.
Oh my God, worst time.
Yes, I called numerous agencies. No one could give me a nanny. They all were like, cannot. Malaysia locked down already. No nannies could come out. You know what I mean? And obviously, whatever that they had were also nannies that people don't want, which meant they were probably problematic in their own ways. So I was stuck with a shit nanny who was like rude and like scolding me every day, and she never cooked for me. So can you imagine, every day my meal I had to think of what to order for delivery lah. Then I had to like juggle with my newborn baby, and then like all the new challenges that came up at work, because it was just crazy, it was just intense. So I felt like that was really a very trying 2-3 months for me. So having given birth and then like lockdown of 2
and
months.
there's postnatal blues also that is very unspoken.
That's the thing. I don't even think I had time to assess myself.
Correct,
But I believe right now in retrospect,
we have a big one.
Correct, sure have
I'm
one.
so sure. I tell you,
How to
when I know I have. Okay, when I look at the baby, I'm actually very happy, but I tear.
Yeah.
That's when I know I have.
Or like you a bit, your husband says something, you cry.
Yeah, I a bit cry. Yeah.
Or your
Then
baby cry, you also cry.
That's when I feel, I think I have
something
hormonal
is not right.
imbalance.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I felt like the axis in my life was gone. And also because work was so intense, right? My husband was perpetually not at home. I don't blame him because he had to be in the warehouse. You know what I mean? Stocks were like coming in, and then like we were troubleshooting all the things. Of course, back then, the world was in a frenzy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? No one knew how to handle a situation like this. It was new to everybody. So we were trying to troubleshoot. My husband was like putting out fires, logistics issue at work, and whatnot. So basically, he was taking care of everything in the warehouse while I was juggling things at home. So I was handling like customers. So basically, all the customer relations, all the products, and the baby. That was my care while handling a problematic nanny. And then while sourcing food for myself, then my husband was just in the warehouse like all day. And back then, also COVID, right? So it's not like we could really have like my mom over or whatever to help. So it was very, very, very tough.
So juggling, I think your greatest challenge would be juggling so many roles at one go, plus transitioning from a couple to a family. How would you, what would you advise? Or what were your greatest learning points for the audience as well, who perhaps have this transition or this struggle?
I think it's okay to feel scared, and it's okay to cry. So people tend to want to put on a strong front, and they think that, you know, vulnerability is a weakness, but it is not. Actually, the true strength, right, is in recognizing that you are vulnerable and that it's okay to not be okay. You know, it's really something that is very underrated. People always say like, well, look at her, she's so strong, you know, she has this, she has that.
You
she's
do
so
look like that
accomplished.
You do, because you know what, your
I'm
Instagram is so
fine with
nice. Like, you know, so I would say travel, shopping, it's a life that I would say that, you know, a lot of people, especially if let's say they have a hard day, then they'll be like, wow, I wish I had her life. But actually they don't see the struggle behind. Yeah.
I would say every job has its struggles, and everyone has battles that they are fighting. You just don't see it, you just don't hear about it perhaps. And it's really okay, you know, it's okay to not be perfect. I think that is one thing I gave up on. Like, I don't want to be perfect. I'm not. Nobody is. The thing is, I don't need to be.
You are beautifully imperfect.
We are all unique in our own ways.
Yes.
And I think it's okay to not have approval from everyone. I feel that this is also something very toxic, because the society tends to seek approval, validation. When we talk about social media per se, the surest validation is number of likes lah, views lah, shares lah, all the boring numbers and shit. But the thing is, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I love you for you. Go ahead.
But the thing is, those don't determine your life. You know what I mean?
What determines your life, Melody?
Whether you feel like you have done enough for yourself, whether you feel like you have lived life the way you want in your own terms. And the thing is, ultimately, like, you know, you have to be happy with your path. Even if you're, okay, the thing is, no one can be happy all the time. But what's next? If you're not happy, then change. Then find a solution. So I feel like, you know, it's really okay to not be life figured. It's okay to not know what you want. It's okay if you are unsure of whether you should take the next step or not. But no matter what, don't just sit there and whine and complain. I cannot take it when people like complain non-stop. And like, you know, like I used to have like friends gatherings where we would all sit down, then everyone would just start pouring out their problems. I think it's one to, you know, to pour out your unhappiness, because everyone needs to vent.
Have outlet.
Yeah,
yes.
but what is next? You know, the next course of action is super important. So it's okay even if you don't have everything figured out. It's okay even if you don't have the answer today, but you need to work on it. You need to find the solution. Otherwise, you would always be unhappy and you would always be complaining. And it's a vicious cycle, because you would spread the energy around your circle.
Absolutely. So, in order for you to get out of your discomfort, in order for you to get out of your what you are doing day to day, you need to, number one, make sure that, okay, you find an outlet to rent. But after renting, right, what is the solution? And then go and do something about it.
Basically, just do something.
Melody's
do something
words,
about your life.
Melody's words. It's okay to be unfigurable.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Even if today you don't know what you'll be doing tomorrow, you don't know what you'll be doing next year, it's fine. But just continue searching within yourself. What drives you? What motivates you? And what do you really, really like? You know, like we don't have it rosy every day. Life is never meant to be that way.
And you know what I love about this podcast? Actually, the reason why I got a lot of guests on, right, is actually to share that life is not always rosy.
Yeah.
Actually, what I realized about successful on individuals in their own niche and in their own market, right, is that how they show up, how they think, which is absolutely beautifully said by you. We are beautifully imperfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. It's fine. It's really okay. But ultimately, right, really just do something about your life, because maybe this is the pessimistic part of me, but you would never know when your last day is, right?
Yes.
So like, I don't like to waste time. I don't like to waste time. I believe in taking time off to recharge, you know, and to find yourself again, to kind of like find that exist in your life again. But the thing is, you shouldn't just think that you have tomorrow.
So live your life as though you don't have tomorrow.
I'm someone who really just lives life to the fullest. And that's why my husband always says I'm crazy.
Why?
He always says like, you're a bit xiao leh. Because sometimes I just say that, you know, let's just cancel everything and we do this, or we go here. And then he'll be like, huh? Cannot lah. And I'm like, because my husband is a planner.
Yes.
And I'm not. I'm someone who just
Go with
lives
the
in the
flow.
moment. I go with the flow. I just wing it. I
Yeah.
don't care. Then my husband was like, no, if we do this, this would happen. I'm like, no, like just fucking and do it.
Okay, so Melody's words, just
Fuck it. Just do it. Don't care. Because the thing is, no matter what you do, there will always be what ifs in life.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
The what if will never end.
It will never end. So it doesn't mean that if you take this approach, then your life will be correct. As in, this is the correct path. Because sometimes you would think back, hey, what if I had done that instead? The what ifs will never stop.
Okay,
So
talking
just do
about
it, lor.
doing things lah. What would you say to somebody who just want to start up on entrepreneurship journey, just like you, start up as a self-employed, want to bring in their own product, want to start something? What would you say to them, and how would they do it?
Okay. The funny thing is, right, I would say money is not everything. I know it's contrary to what I just said.
Share with us.
It's contrary to my character of being monetarily driven. But I started out with very boring but passion. It's a very boring but gold advice. Always look at yourself. What is it that you lack, or what is your passion? Because passion is one thing, and when you find a problem, that might very well be the solution. Because
wait. So it is actually go and hunt for the
problems. Correct.
Go and solve people's problems. So something that you do is to solve people's hair loss.
Correct.
Solve people's skincare issue.
So that's the thing. Where problem lies, where there are problems, that's where opportunity lies. Because you will not be the only one having that problem.
Okay, so in order to start up something, guys, go and find the problems which you are facing.
Yes.
Because very highly likely you are passionate about it and you really want to solve that problem.
Correct.
And
so you cannot just say like money law. Of course, everyone works for a living. Everyone needs money to survive, and we are just working to earn money. That is the core, yes. But I feel like you should never let that shadow your passion, and you should also never let that forget who you are as a person. Because money, like what people say, money is evil. Money tend to make people do things that are unusual, that are not them. You tend to steer off course. You tend to do things probably against your own principles and whatnot.
But you don't do that.
I don't. So for me, right, my philosophy is if it's something that I try and I use, I dare to stamp my name on it, and I dare to face it if there's a problem, then that is my direction. So right, in the beginning when I first started bringing in products to sell, people were skeptical. They were like, hey, China products can use or not? But I tell you, Singaporeans, right, don't have foresight. See, beauty products are damn big, okay? So back then, everyone was like, really, man, this one China one, like, can use or not?
But now a lot of China cosmetics that is super good.
Look at how everyone is flocking to China post-COVID. Everyone is just loving Chinese everything right now. But back then, everyone had that skeptical mindset. Like people were like thinking, wow, this one can or not? That one usually the hair got problem, not the face got problem, not. So right, for me, right, while I need to earn money, while it is important, I make sure that it is something safe. Never go against your conscience. No matter what, right, never go against your conscience. If it's something that you believe in it, go for it. But if it's something that you have doubts, don't even touch it until you've clarified the doubts. So for me, right, of course, I had a whole bulk of products sitting at home. I was like trying everything. So I started out with one brand. Okay, I started with like one brand because I had the opportunity to bring in the products for that brand. But even though that brand had already been very popular in China then in 2017, 2018, I still made sure I tried every single product, and I only singled out the ones that worked for me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So integrity is very important. Integrity is really very important. So while you need to earn money, you cannot just want to do it for the sake of doing it.
Correct.
You must have conscious.
Because long-term wise, it will hurt your reputation.
Correct. Your reputation is everything. It is something that, it's so much more expensive than that short and quick profit that you might see. Can you imagine if you've got to do crisis management? The cost is going to be a lot more, and it may not, the damage done to your reputation may be more detrimental than anything else that, no matter which crisis management company, no matter what, they cannot solve it. So it's very important to be honest in your business dealings. It's very important to sell things with a conscious. So don't just sell things because this is the trend right now, or like, this is very trendy, I bring it and sell or this, like all these hit and run businesses, like while you do get your gold, there's no longevity. They are not sustainable in the long run. And for all you know, if you happen to get like bad products, they might harm your reputation in the long run.
Absolutely. So something that I learned from you again is actually number one, right? Go and solve a problem.
Yes.
Follow that problem because someone else may be facing the same problem.
Correct.
And then you go and solve it. And then while you're doing this, right, it must be something that you're passionate in. She has tested out all the products.
Yes.
So you have to have that integrity and you go long term. But something that I realized about you as well is that, even though you love earning your own money and that is something that you feel really proud towards, to work towards it, but you never ever compromise your integrity for money.
Yeah, never. This is definitely against me because I think it goes down to my soft character as well. Like I would feel very bad. Can you imagine if I stamp my name on this product without even trying it, without even understanding what it is, just because the profit is thick? I sell it for it, and then people come back and tell me, it caused me breakout on my skin, or it caused my scalp to be itchy, or it caused me to gain weight instead. How can I in good faith go to bed at night and sleep knowing that I cause problems to these people?
Absolutely.
So it's never me, because I'm just someone who, I cannot go to sleep knowing that I've done harm to people. It's just me. So I would always make sure that I will never compromise on that. So no matter what I do, no matter what I sell, those are products that I've tried and tested on myself, and it is what I would use before I would recommend it to people. Like what I said, right? If it's my problem, I would find a product to solve this. So if it solved my problem, it should solve all of your problem also lah.
Can you share with us what products do you have? So just share with us, a little bit about your brands that you have created.
Okay, so in 2018, I actually co-founded this brand called Miss Skinny. It is actually I would say a wellness supplement that helps in weight loss, but it is not like any other weight loss products in the market. So weight loss products tend to have a very negative connotation to it because they tend to cause like diarrhea, like all the nasty side effects. So my girlfriend Serene and I, we thought, there is this gap in the market. There are no supplements that are more towards wellness than all the drastic stuff. I don't know what the term is, but basically we wanted something that was more natural, something that does not harm your health but still give you good results over time. So we worked with factories to formulate our products, and that was how Miss Skinny was born. So Miss Skinny, we have been selling since 2018. So we have our official web. We are on Shopee, on Lazada, and I do TikTok live streams for that as well. It is a product that has helped me lose all my pregnancy weight as well. So I've given birth 2 times.
Yes.
I would say thankfully I'm very close to my pre-pregnancy weight. I think that 1-2 kg a bit stubborn, but okay, all in all I'm happy without exercising whatever. I know you exercise a lot. I'm someone who detests exercising, so I love to eat. Who is my husband, right?
I mean, your husband is lady, I'm sure.
So I love to eat. So I don't want to compromise on my lifestyle, which is why I thought, if my products work well, right, then that is very well a solution for many moms or people who are looking to lose weight naturally, gradually over time in a very safe manner.
Very good.
So that is how my brand, that is the core that we built our brand on. So that's Miss Skinny. And on my own, the other problem that I faced was when I gave birth to my daughter in 2020, I had very bad postpartum hair form. And I think most moms would face that problem. I had postpartum hair loss. It was so bad. It's like whenever I lace my fingers through my hair, right, I see a lot of strands of hair, and I felt very uneasy. I felt very ugly about myself. Like having just given birth, right? Obviously, your figure is not there. It'll take a while. Then you're losing hair on top of all these. So I thought, okay, this is a very real problem because postpartum hair loss is prevalent among moms. Most moms.
Follow the problem.
Follow the problem.
And her passion.
Correct. So I started speaking to different factories, and then I started speaking to chemists on how to formulate a range of hair care products. So that was how my other brand, Fair Beauty, was born. So Fair Beauty was born in late 2020, I would say. Actually, I don't even remember the exact date, but around there lah. So that was how we debuted our first range of hair care products to target hair fall. But the thing is, right, hair fall is something that is prevalent among both males and females. So today, I started out targeting moms, but today we have actually a very good number of male customers as well. And we have also expanded our range. So today, Fair Beauty not just focuses on postpartum hair loss, we've also got ranges for scalp care, for dry hair, and we've also got a whole series of silk accessories.
Yes, which is what you're wearing right now.
Yes, correct. I brought some for you as well.
And my daughter.
Yes, correct. I'm sure Rachel will love it.
Yes.
So the thing about filling up that gap in the market is that a lot of, when you take care of your hair, but you use inferior quality hair tie, you would harm your hair in the process. So for example, if you tie your hair up in a ponytail with your usual rubber band, when you remove, right, inevitably it would tuck your hair and your hair would fall. Then that would kind of jeopardize all your efforts of taking care of your hair, right? So we thought, my husband and I, we thought, hey, let's come up with more products to expand our product lineup. And things took off very quickly. So all our silk accessories are actually handmade, 100% handmade in Suzhou, and we have achieved a very successful sell rate of like approximately 80% every collection. So every week we drop a new collection. I would say we would sell out like 80% of them. Some of them, right, they even sell out within a minute because my regulars would really camp on the web, and then once we release it, gone.
Because she's very authentic, so her regular customers do
Yeah,
follow
I'm
her.
very thankful. I'm very thankful
Say
to all of
something
them.
to your loyal fans.
Thank you to all of you who believe in me and for always supporting me. So the thing is, like, sometimes when I envision something, right, it seems doubtful in the beginning. People would more often than not, people would say, is this really okay? Like, does this really work this way? But I do have a very strong group of supporters who believe in my integrity. And that is why I say character is something that you build over time. People will buy your character, you'll buy your reputation. So I think, right, my followers and my shoppers would already know that if it's not good, I wouldn't sell. It's as simple as that. If it's something that's not good, I wouldn't sell. If it's something that's not trendy, I wouldn't sell. And that is also why when I launch new products, right, I'm very thankful in the sense that sometimes I don't even need to say much. My regulars would tell me, Mel, don't need to explain. We buy and we support you.
Wow.
So I'm very thankful. So to all of you, thank you so much. But yeah, so that has also given me even more strength to explore and go beyond my comfort zone. So you see now, right, like on top of my beauty products, we are also doing like lifestyle products already. I've started dabbling with more home and living products. And I also have a new brand with my girlfriend Serene.
What is it?
So it's called Still Botanicals. We founded that last year. And that was because Serene and I, we travel quite often. And usually when we travel, right, we find ourselves gravitating towards scented products a lot. We would always go into like scent shops to pick up candles, diffusers, and it's ridiculous because sometimes, right, one candle $100, we can buy like $1,000 over dollars. I don't know what we are doing, but that's
self-caring.
Yes, self-love. so right, Brett and Serene's husband, they had it with us. They were like, what are y'all doing? You're literally burning money, you know. You buy so many diffuser, buy so many candle, buy so many perfume for what? Then our reply is
You know
always
what your husband did? The same as you.
What?
Solving their problem.
Yes. So he really solved the problem. He told Serene, you know what? You all two go and set up a new brand. Then we were like, no lah, don't want lah, boing lah. So many things to do already. Then my husband's like, no, look at the way you are spending. Go solve the problem. Go build a new
Go solve
brand.
my problem because you're spending a lot of the money already.
So that was how Still Botanicals was born. So Serene actually found this contact in Korea that actually manufactures like home diffusers, hand and body wash, body lotion, hand cream and whatnot. Everything that I spend money on, everything that makes me happy. So I was so happy during the R&D process. That's the thing, you know, you must always go back to what you love, because when you do something that you like, it doesn't feel like work. It's a lot of fun. So during the many months of R&D, right, every time Serene came over to our place, she would bring a whole bag of samples. We would start sniffing things and like selecting scents. It was so much fun. So that was how Still Botanicals was born.
Yay!
Yeah, so always, you know, always follow your heart and do what you like. Because if you steer too far from that, right, it becomes a chore. Every day you'll wake up, you'll be reluctant to work, and then it's very hard to, you know, how often can you really find motivation? Sometimes you just wake up and you just feel like a sloth. You don't want to do anything at all. But if it's something that you like, you know, naturally you would jump out of bed and you'll be happy. So like, for example, when my new batch of silk samples come, right, whenever a new batch comes, I would be so happy.
Perky.
Yeah, my followers would know. I always tell them, I liken that feeling to that of them unboxing their silks. So when my samples come, right, oh my god, I'll be so happy. I'll be like over the moon. I would open and look through all
And
of
you know
them
you sound different just talking about it. Yeah, and one more thing, did you bring your kids to the factory?
I did recently.
Yeah,
we
why?
did.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I thought, right, okay, that's the amazing part. I have been so lucky to be working remotely without visiting my factory. So the thing is, usually in this kind of industry, you do have to go down to like touch and feel
Build
the
the
fabric
connection.
lah. Build connection is one thing, because Chinese are very into 关系,
关系，
right?
对。
跟他们吃饭、喝茶、聊天。
我们是
So-
like, you know, let's build this
Yeah,
together. Have
relationship,
better terms.
correct.
Absolutely.
So the thing is, when I started working with this factory, I was actually pregnant with Elroy. So I couldn't do anything. He was like, 下来啊，下来苏州找我们。说我不能啊，我大着肚子。And it was very inconvenient for me. So we worked remotely. And since then, I was so comfortable. I was just working remotely. We were just doing FaceTime, you know, like just doing FaceTime and everything. So he kept asking me, 几时要下来我们工厂? So I thought, okay, it's high time I paid them a visit. So earlier this year, actually that's the thing, everything happens for a reason, and because I didn't even plan this. We were supposed to go to Tokyo, but because of the influenza A outbreak, right, we were a bit worried. Because I've got 2 young kids and then Serene has her kids also, because we went with Serene. So Serene was like, shall we not go to Tokyo, because I think the situation is a bit out of control. And we said, okay, fine, let's just go somewhere else. So 3 weeks before our supposed Tokyo trip, we cancelled. And then the only flights that were available for all of us to fly together on the same flight was Shanghai. And then Serene and I were like, okay, let's go to Shanghai. Because many years ago, Serene and I went to Shanghai for work and we liked it. We partied, back then before kids, every night we party after work. So we had very fond memories of Shanghai. We ate, we shopped, we partied. So Serene was like, let's go back to Shanghai. We were like, okay, since we're going back to Shanghai, right, I would want to go to Suzhou. But with kids in tow, I was thinking, well, how am I going to do this?
And how are you going to bring your kid to the factory?
No, then I was like, okay, let's just do it. My husband was like, a lot of what ifs, a lot of like how la, why la, blah, blah. I was like, just do it. Once you get there, things will sort out on their own. I'm like that. So he was like, the factory is so messy, people working, how you bring 2 young kids there? I can one. I don't can one. So I called my factory manager. I say, 对不起，我有2个小孩子跟我一起，没关系，你们来。So he was so nice, and the thing about Chinese people is they are so hospitable,
accommodating.
And they're very accommodating.
Absolutely.
They're very sincere about working with you. So he prepared a lot of snacks and toys, and he prepared a room. So when I went there, we parked our children in that room. Brett stayed with them. They were just playing with all the toys, eating the snacks and whatever. For the 2-3 hours, I was just in the other room and in the factory where they produce, where they hand sew all the suits. I was just there and then like shuttling between there and the fabric part.
So you really made the family holiday happen while also covering
working.
your work trip. So it's kind of like a balance and like work-life integration.
Yes, correct. And I took the chance to show my kids what mommy was doing. So the thing is, I don't think my son really understands. He's 2. He barely understands.
But it's okay, you have photos.
Correct. Next time I can show him. So my daughter though, on the other hand, plus she's a girl, right? She was so fascinated with the process of making. So because she has a lot of all our accessories, so I actually showed her. I said, you see the hairband that you normally wear, right? This is how it's done.
Wow.
Auntie is doing this. Oh, uncle is like, cutting the fabric after that, So I showed her the step by step. She was very intrigued. And I felt like it was also a learning journey for her. It's something that she would never be able to learn anywhere else in school. No way.
And it's like starting entrepreneurship lessons young.
I hope so.
Yes,
I
and
hope
also
so.
getting to your kids to see what mommy is doing, why mommy is so busy to provide for you guys, and still to also follow my passion.
Correct.
Something about you, Melody, is that you lead by example.
Thank you. I hope so. This is also my philosophy. I want to be a role model for my mom, and that's why I also felt like after being a mom, I became more conscious of myself, my actions, my words, because I feel like the downside of being on social media is that everything is immortalized. Nothing will be deleted forever. Even if you delete something, someone will have it immortalized somewhere. And that is why I'm very conscious of myself and the things I say and the things I do. And outside of the limelight, I really want to be a role model for my children, for what I do.
Thank you for being so open and vulnerable today, because
thank you.
while you very boldly and very openly just share, I'm very conscious about how I post and stuff like that. I mean, I'm very sure that a lot of people are, but they don't actually say that. So thank you for being so vulnerable, so open, and for our viewers to actually really learn the life lessons that not everything is rosy.
Yeah, it is not. But you will have it figured out.
And I hope you guys got to see the other side of the famous Melody Yap.
No, don't say
she
that.
Will say she's not. She will say it's not.
I always tell Germaine I'm a nobody. Just now when we sat down, Germaine asked me, what are you? I said, I'm just a regular person, Lord. I'm not like girl boss, not anything.
But I think you are. Because
Thank you for the recognition.
You really, really are to a lot of people.
Thank you.
And I seen you as a personal friend and see how genuine you are. And that's why I'm very, very happy to have you on the channel.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you enjoyed yourself as well. And yes, so I'll put the links in the description. If you guys want to follow Melody, you can actually follow her on her Instagram. Thank you so much for watching the show. See ya!